Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Meet again with me, with Reza Muzaki at Fes'T, Fun English at Smash. Okay students, how are you? I hope that everything's gonna be alright. You still get the motivation in learning English. And now, in this meeting, I would like to explain you about a kind of material in the first semester. It is talking about poem. What is a poem? And maybe you don't know about poem, so we can discuss this deeply after this. Before that, I would like to tell you in detail about poem that based on in some indicators inside. There is a basic contents on 3.4 that purpose of this lesson is about interpreting social function, text structures, and linguistic elements of spatial text in poem, spoken and written forms by giving and requesting information related to adolescent's life according to the context of the use. That's the contents of basic contents in 3.4. It also consists of some indicators. Let's check this out. The indicators of 3.5 in basic contents is the first is identifying. The first stage, you should identify about the social function, theory structures, and also the language features of specific text in a poem. And then the second is clarifying by understanding the contents of the poem and about relating with the social function, generic structure, language feature of the text of the poem. And then after you understanding the concept, understanding the contents of the poem itself, you apply by applying the social function, generic structures, language features of specific text, relating with how to make a poem. And then the last is interpreting. So there are one of a poem that I asked you to interpret the contents of the poem itself and what exactly this poem refers to. And then students, after that, I will also show you about the contents of the discussion of today, the contents of discussion today. Before that, I would like to ask you some questions. The first, do you know what's a poem? And how about poetry? Are they same? And what is the function of the poem itself? All of these questions will be answered in following discussion. Let's check this out. The answers is poem and its function. And the right one is the difference between poem and poetry. Poem is a collection of spoken or written words that expresses ideas or emotions in a powerfully vivid and imaginative style. Commonly, it is used to convey an idea or emotion in beautiful language. That's the function of the poem. And the difference between poem and poetry is poem refers to one word, while poetry refers to a collection of the poem. So when the poem collected into one, that's called as poetry. Okay, students, now the next discussion is about in detail about poem itself. The first is about the definition and function, what and for what the poem is made. And then poem elements, have you known about them? There are some elements that constructs the poem, and then form of poems, and then type of poems, example, and also the last is assessment to ensure that you understand about the explanation that I made. Next is first about the definition and the function of the poem itself. What is the definition of the poem? It is a collection, as I said to you before in the previous, the difference between poetry and a poem, and then the functions of the poem itself. Poem is a collection of spoken or written words that expresses ideas or emotions in a powerfully vivid and imaginative style. And then the next is what is a poem function itself. The main function of poem is to convey an idea or emotion in beautiful language. It paints a picture of what poet feels about a thing, person, idea, concept, or even an object. However, the supreme function of a poem, the major function of the poem, is to transform imagery and words into verse form to touch the hearts and minds of the readers. So when you want to touch the hearts of your mother because you need money, or you want to tempt your mother, want to ask something that you should give your mother or maybe your father a poem before you ask money to them. That's maybe useful for you. And next is the elements of the poem. Okay, the elements, there are some elements in a poem. The first is nature, is the meaning of poem. Yeah, the meaning of poem. And then second is theme. So the elements that construct the poem, and they have some elements. The first is nature, second is theme, a state about life that the particular work is trying to get across to the reader. Symbol is something that is self and also stands for something else. Imagery is used descriptive words for the five senses: matter, rhyme, rhythm, meta, and rhythm of poem creates a beat. Stanza, when you see space between line in a poem, that means the new stanza is beginning. Okay, so to tell about the detail of the poem elements, we discuss later. These are the other elements of the poem. The first and the seven is rhyme, and the last is repetitions. This is the example. A true love. I remember the moments with you. Here I keep my heart. Although my days through without you, my heart just for you. If you were gone away, when the night was come, you came to my dream. I hope you will come back soon. You closer to the power of my dream, and without you the world is empty. Without household furnishings and occupant. Okay, students, if you have a boyfriend or maybe the girlfriend, this poem can be given to them. Okay. And about stanza, stanza is a group of phrases, clauses in one paragraph. If we talk about the paragraphs of the poem is called as stanza. This is the first stanza and this is the second stanza. Okay, this is the explanation of poem under title True Love. The theme is expecting someone who really loves to return to a life and long distance relationship. So the theme of this story, the theme of this poem is about expecting someone who really loves to return her life and long distance relationship. There are two stanzas, the first and the second. The rhyme is stanza is A B A A C, means that U T U U Y, we. Yeah. So A B A A C. This is called as rhyme. And the second stanza is A B C B D E, E M N E end. Home, come, trim, soon, trim, home, end. And then nature is the meaning of poem. The first stanza explained about moments. I remember the moment. So the first stanza telling about the moment. And the second stanza explained about dream. When the night was come, you came to my dream. And the writer said, I hope you will come back soon. This is called as dream and this is called as moments. So the different stanzas, different nature. The next is repetition. There are some words that repeat, that repetition such as without, you, came, dream, heart, and I, you. Okay, and then came, come. That's a repetition. The message of poem is don't be afraid to dream and wish, because the dream and wish can us a power in our life. That is the message. And then the next is the poem has symbol, and without you the world is empty home. This is the symbol. Line 5 in the word empty home. This explains things that empty our heart, that quiet or alone. So this is the meaning of the empty home here. And without you the world is empty home. Empty home means nothing, and no one lives there. And no one lives there. There means is heart. Okay, so when you're alone, you're feeling like the empty home in the world. Okay, next, number 3, form of poem. This is a form of poem. The form of poem here, the verse is dramatic poem, and the second is narrative poem, and the last is lyrical poem. What about them? In detail, dramatic poem is where the speaker is someone other than the poets themselves. Where the speaker is someone other than the poets themselves. A dramatic poem often includes characters and dialogue. A dramatic monologue is often from a fictional character's point of view. So the dramatics that the writer is not the main actor. The next is narrative poem that tells a story and has the elements of the story. However, narrative poems have a rhyme, say. The next is lyrical poem. Lyrical poem is expressions of emotions, appeals to your sense, and often could be set to music. That's called the lyrical poem. The next types of poem. There are some types of poem. The first is free verse. It consists of non-rhyming lines without any metrical pattern, but which follow a natural rhythm. So there is no rhyme like A, B, C, A, like that. But even it is having no lines or rhymes, but it is following the natural rhythm. And then the next is haiku. This poem is coming from Japan, a type of Japanese poem consisting of 3 unrhymed lines with mostly 5, 7, and 5 syllables in each line. Syllables. Ballad, a type of narrative poem in which a story often talks about folk or legendary tales. It may take the form of a moral lesson or a song. 4 is epic, a form of lengthy poem. This poem commonly has long lines and syllables, and also stanzas. Many stanzas include in epic. That consists of shows the protagonist in action of historical significance or a great myth. The next is sonnet. It is a form of lyrical poem continuing 14 lines with an iambic pentameter and tone or mood change after 8 lines. Elegy, a melancholic poem in which poet laments the death of the subject, though he gives consolations towards the end. Epitaph, a small poem using an inscription on a tombstone. And then hymn, the type of a poem praises spiritually or God's splendor. The next is limerick. This is a type of humorous poem with 5 anapestic lines in which the first, second, and fifth lines have 3 feet, and the third and fourth lines have 2 feet, with a strict rhyme sense of A. It's commonly the rhymes is A on limerick poem. Villanelle, a French style poem with 19 lines, composed of 3 line stanzas with 5 tercets and a vinyl quatrains. It uses refrain at the first and the third lines of each stanza. These are the kinds of poem. Now we go to the example. Haiku. As you said, the haiku is coming from Japanese poem. So this is the greatest haiku poets from Basho Matsuo in 1644 and 1694. The contents is this: an old silent pond, A. A frog jumps into the pond, A. The rhyme. Splash, silence again, B. Autumn moonlight, a worm digs silently into the chestnut, A, B, A. In the twilight reigned this brilliant hued hibiscus, a lovely sunset, A, B, and C. So it is in irregular compositions of the rhyme in haiku. This is the example for ballad. Another example is a selection from ballad entitled Ballata Wife by Guido Cavalcanti, which emphasizes the form and the voice of the standard ballad of the day. Ballata, this is the title. The which befalls me in my lady's presence. Bars, explanations intellectual. It seemed to see a lady wonderful, spring forth between her lips, one whom no sense can fully tell the mind of, and one whence. Another in beauty, a springeth marvelous, from whom a star goes forth, and speaketh thus: Now my salvation is gone forth from thee. Let's call the speller. Elegy. Here is a selection of Walt Whitman's poem entitled "O Captain, My Captain," which was written in memory of Abraham Lincoln. So this poem is presented to Abraham Lincoln, and the title "O Captain, My Captain." Why I wrote this as assessment 1? From this poem, I need you to give the meaning. The first is you should write down this poem, and then under the poem you write down the meaning of the poem. That is the first assessment. Now we go to in Psychomotor Skills 4, the contensive 4 and 3.2, capturing meaning and composing social function. So there are two activities: capturing meaning and composing social function. Okay, here is the indicators is capturing meaning, and the last is composing. But for compositions, I need you to learn right. Now in capturing meaning, social function, circumstances, and features of specific text. As the second assessment, I have the audio here. Then I play this, and this is the text about the schoolboy. I already make some of the parts in blank space. So please complete this blank space with the voice, with the word that you heard from this audio. And now I start to play.
The Schoolboy, Songs of Innocence by William Blake, read by Dudley Sutton for the BBC.
I love to rise in a summer morn when the birds sing on every tree. The distant huntsman winds his horn and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company! But to go to school in a summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. Ah, then at times I drooping sit and spend many an anxious hour, nor in my book can I take delight, nor sit in learning's bower, worn through with the dreary shower. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child, when fears annoy, but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? O father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and care's dismay, how shall the summer arise in joy, or the summer fruits appear? Or how shall we gather what griefs destroy, or bless the mellowing year when the blasts of winter appear?
The students, the poem about a school boy that this is as your second assessment, and you should complete the words missing. Then you can submit to the assessment box by capturing the results, and then you submit as usual. Okay, students, this is the last activity of our meeting today about the poem, and I hope that you still keep your health over there, and also the important one that you should still keep your motivation in learning. Okay, students, see you next time. Meet again with me in another chance in Fes'T, Fun English at Smash. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.